Welcome into your practice and welcome to Studio B. My name is Jyothi Bainey and this is going to be approximately a 15 to 20 minute yin yoga practice to help you navigate through change and transitions. And for me, when I am moving through a season of life that is filled with change or a lot of transitions, whether they be seasonal, professional, or personal, or something else entirely, I find it really helpful to tap into the elements of my practice that are grounded and help me to move into the present moment in a way that I can really observe what's happening around me. And what better form of practice to tap into than yin yoga? We're going to move through about 3 to 4 shapes that really help us to feel grounded and again, connected to the present moment so that we can observe what's around us to kind of witness that change and transition. Let's please start in butterfly pose. So the pelvis is situated comfortably on the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together and you completely control the depth of this shape. So you could move the heels away from you, creating more of a diamond shape, or you could snuggle the heels in. And so you just find that perfect Goldilocks position for you. Not too much, not too little, but just right. And then I like to bring in a pillow. And folding forward. And I'm going to keep my head relatively lifted so that I can continue to connect with and speak to you. But you are welcome to let your head completely relax. Feeling the body and the breath just settle in to the present moment. And you might just begin to notice that as the body settles into the shape, as the breath starts to become smoother, and perhaps also deeper. And sometimes when we settle into the present moment and we get still, our mind becomes aware of other things that we might not have previously noticed. And so if the mind gets distracted, you might just know that the mind is doing what it does, it's thinking. And you can even say, my mind is aware of what's happening around me. My mind is also aware of the sensations and the emotions within me. And so starting to recognize that you can develop this witnessing capacity. This capacity to watch what is around and what is within. Giving yourself about 3 to 5 more breaths here in butterfly pose. Maybe noticing if there's an area of the body that you could soften just a little bit more. And then using the next breath or two, begin to slowly lift the head, the heart, rising up and out of the pose, and give yourself permission to honor this transitional time. Maybe taking a breath or two just being upright, not needing to rush to the next posture or shape. And then we will prepare, so moving the bolster or pillow out of the way. I'm going to extend my right leg wide, and we're going to come into half shoelace pose with the option to come into full shoelace. So my right leg extended out wide. I'm going to turn my torso to face that right leg and then stack my left knee on top of my right knee. And this is what we call half shoelace. Now this is a really nice place to pause and be and fold forward to whatever capacity is available to you. If you are interested in taking full shoelace, lean to the right and tuck the right knee in as well. So now we have both knees tucked, feet back outside of the hip points. And then again, you might just sort of lean forward slightly, or depending on the spaciousness in the body, you might fold a little bit deeper. And the first thing you might do here is again check in, noticing what sensations are most pronounced in this shape. Maybe noticing any emotions or emotional tones that are associated with those sensations. You might even become aware of the changeable nature of the breath. Noticing how the breath is an example of constant evolution to us. And yet, noticing your ability to watch the breath. To notice the changes within the breath. And so you begin to make note of the fact that there is a witnessing quality within you that is underlying the change. That there is an aspect within you that is unchangeable and consistent. And then preparing for another transition, you'll let the breath be your guide as you start to rise up. And again, honoring that stage of transition where maybe you need to pause and just be in that in-between space. And then we're going to open up really wide for dragonfly pose. So uncrossing that top left leg. And we'll take the legs into a very wide V shape here. You might need to sort of, as I did, pick up and resettle the pelvis, make sure the sitting bones are kind of nicely in contact, again, creating that grounding sensation with the mat. And then your pillow or your bolster, you could move it kind of along the length of the spine, or you could kind of have it out farther in front of you. Whatever's going to be most of service to the way that you come into this pose. And then you start to make your way in, knowing that there's no right place to be in the shape. There is no place to be in this shape that is better than another. But instead, it's a recognition of things being the way that they are. Where do I need to be right now? And as we observe through the lens of our yin practice, the changeability of the breath, the consistency of the inner witness, then we begin to recognize that from this vantage point of present moment awareness, we have the ability to make conscious choices for ourselves. And so just as you're navigating these shapes and you're observing the changeability of the breath and the body, your awareness becomes a superpower that is enabling you to make conscious choices. Taking about 3 more breaths in this broad dragonfly position. And then allowing the breath to be your guide as you navigate the transition of the body out of the shape. And maybe just pausing to notice what's here, how that transition feels, if maybe the pose is still rewinding itself out of the body. And then we're going to take either half or full shoelace on the second side. So you can choose how quickly you make this transition. Again, the left leg is already extended. We don't have to do anything there. We'll take the right leg, close it over, and stack the right knee right on top of the left. And then you might just take a breath or two here. When we transition, it's important, to not rush, to go slowly, because then we again are empowered to make the right choices for ourselves. So maybe you don't want to do the full shoelace on this side, or maybe you do. And if you do, you can bend the bottom knee and tuck it in. And so you're facing somewhat at this diagonal, and again, from that place of present moment awareness, navigating the change and transition, you're empowered to make the choice that's right for you of how deep you move into this particular form. Just noticing how the mind responds to those pauses, the quiet moments in between me speaking. That sometimes in the fast-paced life that we live in, we become so accustomed to constant input that when we have these moments of quiet and pause, they can sometimes be unsettling. And so just seeing if you can begin to trust the pause, to trust the quiet moments. Giving yourself about 5 more breaths feeling grounded and stable as you witness the changeability of the breath, the transitions from thought to thought, feeling anchored in your awareness. And we'll start to navigate the body out of the shape and coming back to a comfortable position for a few moments of just mindful centering before we close this practice. So finding a seat where the spine can be tall and upright without being overly rigid. Finding a resting place for those lovely hands of yours. You could either rest the eyes on something out in front of you or close them softly. Just thinking back in to that present moment awareness. In the present moment, I am consciously aware of the events around me and the sensations and emotions arising within me. And from this vantage point of awareness, I can make conscious choices. I can see that my existence is unchanging, while life is an ever-changing adventure. I can see that my existence is unchanging, while life is an ever-changing adventure. As we prepare to close this brief yin practice, I would invite you to potentially bring the palms of the hands together. And we will close this practice with the words of my lineage, which I will say first in Sanskrit and then in English so that you know what they mean. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. And may that light of truth overcome all darkness. Victory to that light. Jai Shri Sakharu Maharaj Ki.